Most women are taught to be appealing, but only a few become irresistible, not because they try harder, but because they no longer try at all, because something inside them, often after pain, solitude, or quiet rebellion, has awakened. She no longer seeks to be chosen, she chooses. This kind of woman doesn't need to speak loudly. Her silence disturbs the insecure. Her presence commands the room, not with performance, but with depth. And it isn't just men who notice. Everyone does, because she emits something ancient, something archetypal. She is the maiden who became queen, not through privilege, but through fire. She has met her shadow, embraced her unloved parts, and married her contradictions. The naive girl within her has died beautifully, necessarily, and from those ashes rose the mature feminine dot. 2. Jung maturity was never about age. It was about individuation, the long, aching journey to become whole. Not perfect, not palatable, whole. And when a woman becomes whole, her aura becomes unforgettable. She has cultivated habits, but not surface ones. These are soul habits, ways of being that fracture illusions. And if you are a man, you may find yourself haunted by her even after she leaves, not because of anything she did, but because of everything she was. She does not perform vulnerability to seduce, she embodies it to liberate. Watch her when she enters a room. She is not seeking attention. She is observing, not to judge, but to feel. The way Jung spoke of the anima, the inner feminine in man, she is its living reflection. She walks with her unconscious in full dialogue. There is no mask, no social costume. And if there is, she knows she's wearing one. This awareness of her own psyche, her patterns, her projections, makes her rare, because most people operate in fragments. They react, they defend, but she responds, like a mirror held to the world. She sees through the veils. And when you speak to her, you feel exposed, not because she attacks, but because her gaze is honest. A mature woman does not chase affection. She does not barter her body for validation. She knows the cost of being seen only for surface. She has lost herself to gain this knowing, and now she has returned, sovereign. You can't manipulate her with hot and cold games. She'll see through them. She won't rage, she'll withdraw. Not to punish, but because she no longer finds comfort in confusion. Her time is sacred. Her peace is non-negotiable. And if you try to control her, she'll smile, that quiet, devastating smile, the one that says, I see you, I forgive you, but I won't stay. She does not need you to understand her. That need belonged to the girl she used to be. You will not find her obsessing over filtered versions of herself online. Her beauty is not for projection, it is for reflection. She no longer competes, because she remembers who she is, and yet she is not hard. Her softness is not weakness, it is conscious choice. She cries without shame. She feels deeply, but she is not consumed by emotion. She channels it, like a river that has carved valleys with her grief and grown gardens from her tears. This woman has turned wounds into wisdom. She has stopped apologizing for taking up space, and that alone makes her magnetic, because we live in a world where women are trained to shrink, to apologize, to dim, but she does not shrink. She expands, and when she loves, when she loves, it is not to fill a void, it is to share an overflow. She does not say, I need you to complete me. She says, I welcome you to meet me, because she has already completed herself. To stand in her presence is to feel time slow. There's a gravity about her, not the weight of burden, but the pull of depth. She is not loud, yet the room leans toward her. It is not charisma in the way the world often defines it, polished, rehearsed, extroverted. No. Her power comes from something deeper, something ancient. She has integrated her shadow, and that is no small thing in a society that teaches women to be good. She dared to be whole. She faced the parts of herself others warned her to bury, the envy, the rage, the hunger, the fear. She did not banish them. She brought them into the light, one by one, and whispered, "I see you. You are part of me. Let's walk together." That act alone, it makes her irresistible, because wholeness is rare. And in her presence, others feel the echo of their own disowned parts calling back to them. A man may not know why he cannot forget her, but Jung would. The anima, when embodied in a woman with depth, draws the masculine psyche toward his own unconscious. Not out of lust alone, but out of recognition. She becomes a symbol, not of possession, but of possibility. And yet, she does not play the role of a muse. She refuses to be pedestalized or idealized, because she knows the cost of being made divine. It is always followed by being made disposable. She insists on being human. Divine, yes, but also flawed. If you try to tame her, she will become smoke in your hands. Not because she fears intimacy, but because she requires it. The kind that is built on truth, not performance. She would rather be alone than adored inauthentically. She is not afraid of solitude. She has learned to dance with her aloneness, sometimes joyfully, sometimes painfully, but always honestly. She doesn't reach for distractions to avoid the ache. She leans into it, because in that ache she has found herself, and so she doesn't need to rush into connection. She listens for resonance, not validation. You may offer her the world, but if your soul is absent, she will walk away, even with tears in her eyes, because she's cried before and survived. This strength, this willingness to walk alone, is magnetic. It awakens something primal. In other women, admiration or threat. In men, fascination or fear. In the collective, a ripple of remembrance. She carries wisdom in her gestures. The way she moves, speaks, even pauses. It all carries intentionality. She has mastered the art of stillness in a world addicted to noise. When she listens, she truly listens. Not to reply, not to impress, but to witness. You will feel seen, not in a surface way, but soul deep. And that kind of attention, it disarms you, because most have never been truly felt, and yet she expects the same. If you cannot see her truly, fully, she will not fight for your eyes. She has already won the war for her own. This is the kind of woman who reads poetry, not to seem deep, but because language holds her secrets. She may love ancient philosophy, not to sound intelligent, but because Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And she refuses to waste herself again, not in lukewarm love, not in shallow praise, not in shrinking to fit into smaller lives. The mature woman chooses. Her energy is not scattered, it is contained. Her boundaries are not walls, they are thresholds. If you cross them with reverence, she will open. But if you barge in entitled, she will close, gently but firmly. You see, her life is not an audition. She is not trying to be liked. She is trying to be true to her essence, to her rhythm, to the woman she has fought to become. So, if you are lucky enough to know her, Do not try to impress her. Instead, meet her, naked in spirit, grounded in truth, unafraid of depth, because anything less will bore her. There is something sacred about a woman who knows her own depths, who has stared into the abyss of her soul and not turned away. She no longer fears her own chaos. She has learned to alchemize it. To the outside world, she may seem composed, graceful, perhaps even intimidating. But make no mistake, that poise was born of storms. She has raged, broken, surrendered, and rebuilt. What you now see is the result of countless inner deaths and quiet rebirths. She is not detached from life, she is rooted in it. The mature woman does not romanticize suffering, but she does not deny it either. She has found meaning in her wounds, not by glorifying the pain, but by refusing to let it define her. She understands what Jung meant when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." She has stopped blaming fate. She has turned inward instead. She has peeled back every projection, every inherited belief, every voice that once told her she was too much or not enough. And in doing so, she has claimed her own narrative. This gives her a calm intensity, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself. She doesn't raise her voice to be heard. Her presence speaks louder than any performance. Her gaze, it sees through armor. Her hands, they do not grasp. They invite. Her words, measured, intentional, sourced from reflection, not reaction. You cannot rush her. She lives by her own tempo now, a rhythm tuned not to external pressure, but to her internal truth. She is no longer addicted to urgency because she knows whatever is truly hers cannot be stolen. This belief is not arrogance, it is trust, the kind that comes after many betrayals, including the ones she committed against herself. She remembers when she silenced her intuition to be loved, when she betrayed her needs for the illusion of connection, when she stayed too long where her soul was starving. But she does not carry bitterness, only discernment. She does not speak ill of those who once hurt her. She simply does not return, because returning would cost her the woman she is now, and that price is too high. You'll see her in the way she walks alone, not because she must, but because she can. You'll feel her in conversations that touch the marrow of things, where masks fall and silence becomes sacred. You'll remember her, not for how she looked, but for how you felt in her presence. And if you ever love her, understand this: she does not seek to be needed. She desires to be chosen, not from desperation, but from sovereignty. She is not impressed by grand gestures born of guilt. She is moved by consistency, by presence. Not the presence that fills a room, but the one that remains when things get uncomfortable, because she knows love is not tested in the highs. It's revealed in the lows. She has no appetite for shallow connection. If you want her, bring your soul, your fears, your truth. She will hold it gently, not to fix you, but to witness you. But do not ask her to carry what you will not face yourself. She is not here to mother broken boys in grown men's bodies. She is here to build, not to rescue, and in friendships, she is loyal, but not to a fault. She no longer confuses loyalty with self-abandonment. She has learned the art of the graceful goodbye, the kind where no doors are slammed, but the lock is quietly changed. You won't hear her curse your name. You'll just feel her absence where her warmth once lived. And that absence, it echoes because her presence was not decoration. It was medicine. She does not need you to see her worth. She has seen it herself. And when a woman sees herself, truly sees herself, she becomes unshakable. She is no longer seduced by chaos, dressed as passion. She no longer mistakes adrenaline for love. What once hooked her, the unpredictable man, the emotionally unavailable one, the one who triggered her wounds and kept her chasing, now repels her. Because now, she reads energy, not excuses. You can bring her flowers, but if your presence is inconsistent, she scents the fracture. You can tell her she's beautiful, but if your gaze lacks reverence, she'll feel the hollowness. This woman has learned to trust her body, not just for pleasure, but as compass. Her gut no longer whispers, it commands, and if something feels off, she won't beg for clarity, she'll walk. There is a quiet power in a woman who no longer needs to explain herself. She doesn't over-explain her no. She doesn't dilute her needs to be palatable. She doesn't smile to ease tension unless she means it, and that truth in her bones is rare. It is the kind of rarity that cannot be imitated, only earned. Earned through nights of unraveling the patterns passed down by mothers who didn't know better. Earned through releasing the illusion that love means sacrifice. Earned through the courage to let go of what felt familiar but wasn't healthy. She has tasted her own liberation, and she will never again confuse a cage with comfort. Many will misread her strength. Some will call her cold because she doesn't collapse into caretaking. Others will label her difficult because she has boundaries. But those who see her, truly see, will find the sacred feminine in motion. She is not ice, she is fire contained. She will not chase you, she will not cling. But if you earn her trust, she will unfold, slowly, like dusk giving way to stars. And when she does, you will meet her softness, not the kind that breaks under pressure, but the kind that bends with wisdom. She will laugh with her whole body. She will touch you as if you are sacred, because she only chooses sacred connection now. She will sit with your pain without shrinking from it, because she has sat with her own. But she will not let you hide behind your wounds. She will not let you use trauma as permission to harm. She will call you forward not to fix you, but to remind you of who you are beneath the armor. And if you cannot rise, she will not descend. She has climbed too far from the underworld to return to a man who cannot meet her in the light. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who has become the thing she once sought. She once yearned to be chosen, now she chooses. She once feared being alone, now solitude is her sanctuary. She once asked for love to prove her worth. Now her love is a gift, not a currency. You cannot buy her, you cannot trick her, you cannot seduce her with empty words or borrowed dreams. What she desires now is depth, stillness, reciprocity. A man who is not intimidated by her fullness, but invited by it. She will not ask you to be perfect, but she will ask you to be present, because she no longer plays roles, she lives truth. She no longer settles, she aligns. And when she says yes, know that it is not out of fear, or pressure, or loneliness. It is because every part of her body, mind, soul resonates with your presence. But remember, she belongs to herself first, so if you hurt her, do not expect her to fight to stay. She has already fought for herself, and she will leave. Not in anger, but with grace. A woman like this does not collapse. She rises like the moon, inevitable, unapologetic, serene, not to outshine others, but to reflect the light she reclaimed from darkness. A mature woman no longer lives in opposition to herself. She is not at war with her desires. She does not shame her sensuality, nor does she flaunt it for validation. Her allure is not calculated, it's embodied. Because when a woman has spent years silencing her instincts, suppressing her body's language, and bending to the comfort of others. There comes a day when she snaps the spell. That day, she no longer plays small. She begins to inhabit her form, slowly at first, with tremors of old guilt, and then fully, like a queen returning to her throne. She wears her skin as a celebration, not an apology, and the way she walks, the way she breathes, the way she exists, it stirs something forgotten in those who witness her. A kind of hunger, a kind of remembering, because she is not just a woman, she is a woman. The archetype, the mother, the lover, the priestess, the warrior, the sage, all in one, and you can feel it. In her laugh that echoes with centuries, in her gaze that cuts through pretense like a blade through silk, in her presence that feels like home, not the one you grew up in, but the one your soul always longed for. She is no longer addicted to being understood. She has made peace with being misunderstood, because clarity within matters more than approval without. She no longer over-explains her boundaries. She simply lives them. She no longer tolerates relationships built on potential. She wants the now, the real, the risen. And because she holds herself to such truth, she attracts those who crave it. But few can stay, because truth, in its raw form, is confronting. And most are still in love with illusions. Illusions of love, of control, of safety. But she wants the soul beneath the shell, not the performance of masculinity, but the essence of it. The kind of man who has faced his shadow and didn't run. The kind who doesn't fear her fire, because he's learned to master his own. The kind who can stand still in the face of her intensity, not to tame it, but to witness it. That kind of man, rare, real, rooted. He is her equal, not above, not beneath, beside. And when they meet, the world falls away. There are no games, no masks, no pretense, only presence. They do not complete each other, they ignite each other. They speak in a language that doesn't always need words. The kind you feel in the body before the mind catches up. A look, a pause, a silence that vibrates with understanding. This is not Hollywood love, it's sacred love. Built not on fantasy, but on awareness, on inner work, on mutual evolution, because she no longer wants love that just feels good. She wants love that does good, that grows roots and wings, that sharpens her soul and softens her edges. This is her fifth habit. Though she would never name it as such, she is unshakably committed to her inner freedom. And that is the paradox. The more free she becomes, the more irresistible she is. Because she is not waiting for life to begin. She is already living it, breathing it, creating it. She doesn't orbit anyone's world. She is the center of her own. And those who enter her sphere, they do so by invitation, not by accident. So if you find yourself drawn to her, slow down. Feel the pull, not as conquest, but as mirror. What does your desire for her reveal about you? Are you ready to be seen by someone who refuses to look away? Are you ready to meet yourself through her eyes? Are you prepared to let go of games and step into truth? Because if not, let her go. She is not here to teach boys how to be men. She is here to call men into the sacred, or to walk alone, and either way, she will be whole. There comes a moment in every powerful woman's life, not loud, not dramatic, where she simply stops, chasing love, not approval, not even understanding. She just stands still, breathes, and lets everything not meant for her fall away. This stillness is not passive, it is sovereignty. She no longer performs for love. she becomes it. Not the sentimental kind, but the fiercely alive kind. The love that says, I will not abandon myself for your comfort. The love that chooses truth over harmony. The love that holds hands with grief and grace at the same time. She is done measuring her worth by how many hands reach for her, because the most powerful love she has ever known, the one that reshaped her spine, that poured light into her bones, came from within. She has reclaimed every part of her that was once shamed. The wild girl who danced too boldly, the angry voice that said no, the broken heart that kept loving anyway, the body she tried to shrink, the soul she was told to hide. And now she lives in wholeness, not perfection. Wholeness. There is no more mask to peel, no performance to maintain. She is no longer terrified of being alone, because she is finally with herself, fully. And that woman, the one who walks rooted in her own truth, she is unforgettable, not because of what she does, but because of what she no longer needs to do. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't grasp, she receives. She doesn't demand, she expects. And, if unmet, she releases. And what makes her irresistible is not just her radiance, it's her peace. A peace that no man, no compliment, no crisis can take away, because it was forged in solitude, sharpened by grief, tempered by self-reflection, and sealed with self-love. She doesn't burn bridges, she blesses them and walks away. She doesn't scream for closure, she creates it in silence. She doesn't compete with other women, she sees them. And when she walks into a room, women who have also done the work feel it. They rise, not to rival, but to resonate. This is the mature feminine, not reactive, not performative, not wounded, but conscious, embodied, whole. She is the daughter of Jung's archetypes and Seneca's stoicism. She doesn't need the world to bend to her. She's already bent herself toward the truth. And now she walks upright. She may still ache, but she does not break. She may still cry, but she never begs. She may still fall, but she always rises, because she knows the woman who walks with herself walks with the gods. And when you ask her why she no longer waits, she will say, I am the one I was waiting for. That is the final freedom. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses.